In a future where virtual reality reigns, Hyunsung Lee, an exhausted office worker, escapes the daily grind through the immersive game, Idea. But unlike other players chasing adventure, Hyunsung logs in just to sleep, spending countless hours in virtual beds. One day, after over 10,000 hours of in-game sleep, he wakes to a stunning revelation. He's unlocked the God-rank class, Descendant of Thanatos, granting him immense, godlike powers. But there's a twist. His new class has a curse. At any moment, he can be forced into a deep, uncontrollable sleep, even in the middle of battle. With unpredictable power and a sleeping curse, the question remains, will Hyunsung rise to become the strongest, or will his random naps make him the most useless God-rank player in history? Deep within the blazing heat of Himalpus Mountain, Agni, the 31st ranked Fire Dragon Knight of Korea, stands at the edge of a secret dungeon, where molten lava bubbles and the air feels like it could melt even the best equipped adventurer in seconds. Agni, protected by fire-resistant gear and a powerful buff, can barely withstand the scorching ground beneath him, but he's here for a reason. He's after a legendary item, the Fire Dragon's Heart, hidden deep within this dungeon. For a knight whose skills revolve around fire, it's the ultimate prize. His confidence surges as he approaches, knowing this treasure was practically made for him. This is it, he smirks, thinking of the power it will give him. But just as he prepares for what he assumes will be the fight of his life against the dragon, he spots something bizarre. A man, casually sleeping right next to the slumbering beast. Confused, Agni stares at the stranger, wondering how anyone could survive in this blazing environment without top-tier fire resistance gear. The man is just lying there, seemingly without a care in the world, his body adorned with legendary-grade equipment. Agni's mind races. Who is this guy? He's not one of the top 100 rankers. Could he be an unofficial ranker? The temptation to attack the defenseless sleeper rises within him. He's vulnerable, Agni thinks, his hand gripping his sword. With one quick strike, he launches his signature attack, Fire Dragon Charge, fiery dragon shooting straight from his blade toward the sleeping man. I've got him, he thinks. But to his shock, the man dodges effortlessly, still half asleep. Suddenly, a system window flashes before Agni's eyes. You have dealt damage while the narcolepsy skill was active. The skill Sleepwalking has been activated. Agni's eyes widen in disbelief. Is he really still sleeping? The stranger moves with blinding speed, avoiding every one of Agni's attacks, while appearing completely unaware. Agni desperately unleashes his Fire Dragon Scale Shield, his most powerful defensive move, but it's no use. The sleeper's next strike slices through Agni with impossible precision. Another system window appears. You have received a fatal blow. You have been inflicted with the status abnormality, Nightmare. Agni's body is consumed by hallucinations as a towering skeleton appears, engulfing him in a deadly aura. Agni screams in pain, his vision filled with darkness as his system announces his death. In his final moments, Agni can't believe what's happening. I lost to a mere unofficial ranker. With that, Agni is forced to log out, doomed to a 24-hour ban from the game. Hours later, the mysterious sleeper finally wakes up, yawning and stretching as if he'd just taken a pleasant nap. Hyunsung, the man who defeated Agni without even realizing it, notices the loot left behind, flamesword and nearly 900 gold. Smiling to himself, he casually says, "Looks like my sleepwalking skill activated again. Sorry, but I can't leave your items behind." Hyunsung, a player with the overpowered class of Descendant of Thanatos, walks away with his new gear, blissfully unaware of the havoc he's caused. As he prepares to continue his journey, he grins, his title, "Are you a legend? But I'm a god," flashing proudly above him. Before Hyunsung became the unstoppable descendant of Thanatos, his life was much more mundane, and it was full of struggles. Flashback to his past, the bustling city streets, towering buildings, and the oppressive weight of his office job. In this world, Hyunsung wasn't a godlike figure in a game. He was assistant manager Lee, a man balancing a thankless job with the heavy burden of family obligation. At work, Hyunsung's boss constantly criticized him, belittling his every move. One morning, his boss sneered, "The caretaker was late again today." "Huh? If they quit, will you be quitting too, assistant manager Lee?" Every word was a subtle attack, pushing Hyunsung's patience to the edge. Around the office, whispers floated about his situation. "This again. It's not even 9 a.m. and poor Hyunsung is getting chewed out," his colleagues muttered. Some pitied him, others simply watched. They knew him as a diligent, hardworking man, one who hadn't come from an elite university but had managed to land a job at a large company. Despite his good looks, solid work ethic, and popularity among the female employees, there was no chance for a promotion. "He's been stuck here for 10 years without moving up," they whispered, as if that were his only defining trait. But for Hyunsung, This job was his lifeline. He needed the paycheck to support his bedridden sister, Hyuna, who was left unable to walk after a car accident 6 years ago. The accident that had taken their parents' lives left Hyuna paralyzed with guilt, believing she was responsible for their deaths because she had begged to eat out that night. At work, Hyunsung bit his tongue and forced a laugh when his boss made snide comments about his exemption from military service due to Hyuna's condition. Aha! Yes, sir. My lack of education has really held me back. Thanks to your guidance, I've managed to stay afloat. But behind his forced smile, Hyunsung was seething. He couldn't afford to fight back, not with so much at stake. As he left to fetch coffee for his boss, Hyunsung reflected on how exhausting his life had become. I need this job for my sister's hospital fees and my own living expenses, but I really just want to quit. Still, quitting wasn't an option. He had to keep going, for Hyuna's sake. Returning home late that night to the apartment they shared, Hyuna greeted him warmly. You're late again. You've been working overtime every day, she said with a teasing smile. Despite her condition, Hyuna was still able to find joy in the little things, like playing games and reading books. What can I do when I can't even move around? I've been gaming, heh, she joked, trying to keep the mood light. But Hyunsung knew the truth. His sister had grown up too quickly after the accident, and the guilt still weighed on her. Hyunsung smiled at her, though inside, he was beyond exhausted. The same old, just work, he replied, before retreating to his room to change. He thought about how, despite everything, Hyuna's health had been improving recently. She had even started to smile again, something that had been rare after the accident. It's a relief that she can laugh like this, he thought. Watching her return to a sense of normalcy gave him hope. It wasn't just Hyuna's health that was improving then. The virtual reality game, idea, had made a real difference. At first, Hyuna had been reluctant to try it, but after some encouragement from her doctor, she had embraced it. The immersive world of IDA had become her escape, a place where she wasn't bound by her wheelchair, where she could experience life again. I think it's all thanks to that game, Hyunsung mused. He had even gone so far as to buy a gaming capsule for himself, not to play, but to sleep. The capsule's unique time compression meant he could get 5 hours of sleep in the game for every 1 hour in real life. It had become his secret weapon against exhaustion. I'm probably the only person in the world who uses a gaming capsule just to catch up on sleep, he chuckled to himself. Despite his difficult life, Hyunsung found some solace in IDE. It wasn't just a game, it was a whole new world. A vast, immersive universe where anything was possible. While most people played to climb the ranks or earn money, for Hyunsung, it had become a tool for survival. And as he laid down in his capsule, he couldn't help but wonder if one day, he too could rise in the game's ranks. Let's stop thinking about useless things and just connect to the game to get some sleep, he muttered, as the system scanned his eyes and began the connection to idea. As Hyunsung lays down in his gaming capsule, the familiar blue light envelops him, transporting his consciousness into the virtual world of idea. The serene newbie village greets him, a place for players to acclimate themselves before starting their journey. However, despite the village's charm, Hyunsung isn't here to explore. He's here to do what he's mastered over the past year: sleep. The bed in the virtual inn is all too inviting, and as he sinks into it, he mutters to himself, "Ah, this is it. If only I could sleep like this in the real world too." His eyes grow heavy, and within moments, he drifts off into a deep slumber, completely unaware of the monumental shift taking place in his game status. You have slept for over 10,000 in-game hours. Your class has been changed to Descendant of Thanatos, God rank. New titles and skills have been unlocked. Without Hyunsung realizing, the system continues to churn out updates. Still deep in sleep, Hyunsung is blissfully unaware that he's just unlocked one of the most powerful classes in the entire game by doing nothing but sleeping. The next morning, he yawns and stretches, feeling more refreshed than ever. I slept well. What time is it? He checks the time, seeing that 6 real-world hours have passed, but it was plenty of rest. As he's about to log out to get some food, an unfamiliar system window pops up in front of him. Huh? What's this? Hyunsung blinks in confusion as he reads the message. You will now change to the God rank class, Descendant of Thanatos. His eyes widen as the words sink in. Wait, what? A God rank class? Still bewildered, he opens his status screen, and what he sees leaves him speechless. Level 1. Class of Thanatos. God. Are you a legend? Are you a legend? But I'm a god, and 4 others. MP 550, DP 10,014. Stats. Strength 55. Reaction speed 55. Stamina 55. Magic power 55. Intelligence, remaining ability points 50. What the heck? You're supposed to start the game with all stats at 5, and I'm only level 1, Hyunsung exclaims, struggling to make sense of his suddenly overpowered stats. He notices the remaining ability points and mutters, "Is this because I gained all those titles?" Realizing how bizarre and powerful his situation is, he takes a deep breath. They said you could make serious money in this game. I should calm down and figure this out. He decides to log out and do some research, trying to make sense of the system changes. Back in the real world, Hyunsung hops onto his PC and searches for information on God rank classes. His eyes widen in astonishment as he reads through the forums. People are making the yearly salary of an average worker just by playing, and some are earning hundreds of millions of won. He stares at the screen in disbelief, his mind racing. If I'm God rank, I could make even more. Later that morning, as Hyunsung prepares breakfast for himself and his sister, Hyuna, he shouts excitedly, "Eureka!" Hana, hearing the commotion, asks if he's making breakfast. "Yup, you're awake now, huh? Need to use the bathroom?" he teases. "No, I'm not a bedwetter," she snaps, embarrassed. "Just put me in my wheelchair," she huffs. As Hyunsung helps her, he can't help but feel grateful for how much the virtual reality game has helped her spirits. "Geez, you're so embarrassed for no reason. We're siblings, remember?" he says with a smile, watching his sister brighten up more and more every day. As Hyunsung stood outside his sister's room, her voice rang out, dripping with frustration. "I get it already. I'll call if I need help, so don't you dare come in unless I say so." Her determination to keep her progress a secret until she could walk again was admirable. Later at work, Hyunsung approached his boss with a piece of paper. The boss squinted at it, confused. "What's this?" Hyunsung, with a calm confidence, replied, "My resignation." The boss nearly choked. "Assistant Manager Lee, is this because of yesterday? You can't give up so easily." Meanwhile, the office workers whispered, "Why's the boss chewing him out? Hyunsung's lasted this long. That's the real miracle." When the boss tried to guilt trip him with a reminder of his injured sister, Hyunsung, stone-faced, cut him off mid-sentence. "I am grateful for everything, but I hope we never meet again. You fat-ass scum." This behavior sent chill down the boss' ass, making him almost shit his pant. The dramatic exit left everyone speechless, and one coworker whispered in awe, "He's so daring." At the gaming cafe, Hyunsung felt like he'd just hit the jackpot, though not in cash. "I've won a chance," he thought, grinning. As he prepared to dive into the game, he couldn't help but think, "I'm practically sitting on a gold mine." When he asked how much the capsule would cost and was told it was 270,000 won for 9 hours, he winced. Ouch, that's expensive, but worth it. Sliding into the capsule, he initiated the connection to Idea, excitement bubbling inside. Once in the game, Hyunsung immediately checked his new skills, and they did not disappoint. Thananos's narcolepsy, he laughed out loud at the idea of the mighty god of death falling asleep at random. "Guess I'll be leveling up in my sleep," literally. His grin grew wider as he explored the rest. "Sweet dreams equal more DP, I can buy legendary items, and if I fall asleep in a dangerous spot, an AI takes over?" This class is ridiculously OP. By the time he hit Sabbath of the Dead, which let him put enemies to sleep for double damage, Hyunsung was practically giddy. This isn't a character class, this is a cheat code. As he reclined back, a thought crossed his mind. "I wouldn't be surprised if people start calling me a hacker, but hey, this is legit." Hyunsung groaned as the system notification blared in front of his eyes. Thananos's narcolepsy has been activated. His heart skipped a beat. Huh? What the heck? The next message was even worse. "You will be forced to fall asleep." Panic rushed through him as he realized what was happening. A skill that makes me sleep? In real life? It really is narcolepsy. He had barely been in the game for a few minutes, and now this. As he stumbled out of the PC cafe, rubbing his eyes, he muttered, "What a darn skill. Can't believe I actually fell asleep like that." The irony of having a sleep-inducing skill in a game was almost too much to handle. Meanwhile, at the rehabilitation hospital, Hyunsung's sister was making progress, slowly walking with the help of her doctor, Professor Mi. The doctor observed her improvement, nodding thoughtfully. "Walking is still a little tough, but it's not psychological. You just need to build muscle." Hyuna smiled brightly, filled with a sense of hope. "It's all thanks to IDDA. Since I started playing, I've been thinking more positively," she admitted. Professor Mina nodded approvingly but pointed out, "You should be thanking your brother too. He's been quietly supporting you through this." Hyuna beamed at the mention of her brother but quickly changed the subject. "But when should I tell him about all of this?" "Tell him what?" Mina asked. "That I'm the one paying for all the hospital bills and rehab fees," Hyuna said casually, sipping her coffee. Her doctor nearly spit out her drink in surprise. "He doesn't know. When are you planning to tell him?" "Oh, I'm waiting for the perfect moment." Hyuna grinned mischievously. "I'm gonna surprise him all at once when I'm walking again. It'll be fun, right?" Professor Mina chuckled. "That sounds like a blast. I'd love to see his face when he finds out." Just then, Hyuna's phone rang, interrupting their conversation. It was Hyunsung. "Why is he calling now?" she muttered. Picking up, she tried to play it cool. "Yeah? Aren't you busy? Why are you calling me? Hyun-sung, still a bit shaken from his earlier experience, asked, Where are you? I got scared when you weren't home. I'm out for a walk with Ajuma, don't worry about it. She quickly lied, her heart pounding. Okay, but take your time. It's good for you to get out, Hyun-sung replied, his concern easing. After hanging up, Hyuna sighed with relief. Woo, that was close. I better head home before he catches on. Back at home, as Hyuna arrived, she found Hyun-sung waiting, looking a bit off. Is he angry? She wondered. Before she could ask, he suddenly blurted out, I quit my job. Hyuna was shocked. You quit? What happened? Was work too tough? Hyun-sung hesitated for a moment, then explained, From now on, I'm going to earn money through IDEA. Her eyes widened, then lit up with excitement. Wow, that's amazing. So many people are making money through IDEA now. Hyun-sung blinked, not expecting her enthusiasm. You really think that's a good idea? He asked, a little stunned. Of course. I actually wanted to tell you to quit your job ages ago, but I thought you'd think I was crazy. She laughed. The conversation quickly shifted to her curiosity about his class in the game. What's your class? What rank is it? You must have something good if you quit your job, she pressed. Hyun-sung, ever the secretive brother, smirked. It's a secret. Come on. I'm level 331. I'm ranked within the top 1,000. You can tell me, Hyuna begged, trying to coax the information out of him. Then Hyuna dropped the big bomb. She has been earning money from IDEA and pay for her own medical bills all along. This new revelation leaves Hyun-sung speechless. He then blurts, I'll only tell you if I can't make it into the top 1,000 within 3 months. Hyun-sung teased, his confidence unshakable. Fine, but don't go back on your word. I'm really curious about your class. Hyuna huffed, but deep down she couldn't help but be proud of her brother's bold decision. As Hyun-sung returned to his gaming capsule, the familiar message popped up. Player Hyun-sung, would you like to start your connection to IDEA? Grinning, he whispered, Yes. Hyun-sung opened his eyes to the same view he'd had for the past year, the familiar starter village, completely empty. After logging into the game for what felt like the 1,000th time, he muttered to himself, It's time to leave this place. The system quickly greeted him with a notification. You have slept for 58 hours and 32 minutes with the narcolepsy skill. Adjusting increased stats. As he checked his updated stats, his jaw dropped. My stats really increase when I'm sleeping. I knew it would happen, but seeing it with my own eyes is something else. His character's power had skyrocketed just by doing nothing. With his newfound strength, he decided it was finally time to enter the game's tutorial. Standing in front of a gate, he thinks of his father quote, The first step is the most important. As his hand touched the gate, his body was sucked into the tutorial and was met with a screen full of weapons to choose from. I guess something familiar would be better, he mused, selecting the beginner's sword. He smirked, remembering his second Dan in Kundo. Real-life skills would surely come in handy here. The game gave him the task of destroying a scarecrow, which seemed laughably easy for someone of his level. What a bummer, he muttered, slicing through the scarecrow with a single strike. Cleared it in one go, huh? This really does feel too easy, he thought, rolling his eyes. But then, something unexpected happened. 4 system messages popped up at once. You have received the title Monstrous Newbie, Like a Bystander, and several more. Why are there so many notifications for clearing one tutorial? He wondered, intrigued by the new titles. Monstrous Newbie title boosted his experience points by 10%, which was perfect for someone like him who needed 5 times the normal experience to level up. Hyun-sung laughed. I'm definitely going to shock Hyuna when I show her how powerful I've become. A god rank class? She's going to lose it. The Like a Bystander title, however, was particularly amusing. It let him remain anonymous in the ranking, something that would help keep his overpowered status under wraps. This is going to be fun, he thought. Satisfied with his progress, he teleported to Da Town, an infamous and deserted village for beginners due to the dangerous monsters nearby. This is perfect, Hyun-sung thought. A place with no competition means I can level up like crazy. As soon as he arrived, the NPC guards eyed him warily. One muttered to the other, a foreigner? In this town? Must be a noob. But Hyun-sung paid them no mind and asked where the monsters were. When the guards warned him about the deadly acid slimes, whose attacks were too fast and destructive for novices to handle, Hyun-sung just smiled. I know. That's why I'm here, he said confidently, leaving the guards dumbfounded. Without breaking a sweat, Hyun-sung rushed into the forest searching for acid slimes. As he ventured further, he spots something jiggly, an acid slime. He quickly rushed at the slimy creature. Unfazed, the acid slime shoot out its deadly acid that can melt even soiled gears in seconds. But little does this little knows, our MC isn't an ordinary newbie. He is a god packed with high stats and ability. As the acid makes its way to Hyun-sung, he effortlessly dodges it without even looking. I mean, with his max-out instinct, even Spider-Man is jealous. He quickly countered back with a sword strike to its core, finishing it in a single blow. The game rewarded him with experience points and the sense that this was almost too easy. This won't even be a challenge, he muttered, already planning his next move, hunting the orcs in the nearby village. A feat unheard of for beginners. The NPCs, overhearing his plan, tried to stop him, thinking he had some sort of death wish. They even handed him money to buy a scroll to teleport to a safer town, thinking they were helping out a poor, deluded soul. Hyunsung blinked, confused by their generosity, until the system informed him he'd earned the Begging King title for receiving money without asking for it. Seriously? They think I'm some beggar? He groaned, though he couldn't help but laugh. Well, I'll never turn down free money, he shrugged, pocketing the cash as he headed towards the orc village, ready to cause chaos. Hyunsung grinned as he wandered deeper into the wilderness, searching for the infamous orc village. I guess I'll have to find it myself, he muttered, glancing around. He knew it had to be further than where he had encountered the acid slimes, and likely in a different direction. I wouldn't mind if another monster showed up, he thought, eyes scanning the trees. Then, he spotted them. Red orcs. His eyes gleamed with excitement. Bingo. I heard they're usually green, but these ones are red, he noted, observing the group of orcs ahead. The moment they saw him, they screeched, "A human! Kill him!" But Hyunsung was unfazed. Their movements were wild and erratic, making them easy targets for his swift, precise attacks. One by one, the orcs fell, and with each strike, his level shot up. Level up! Level up! Level up! He chuckled as the notifications flooded in. Along with leveling up, his Thananos' dream skill was granting him DP. This is too easy, he mused, sweeping through the village effortlessly. I'll just clear out the whole place without even using skills. The orcs kept coming, but Hyunsung just kept slicing them down, laughing. Let me enjoy this XP feast, he said, reveling in how fast his progress was going. The whole village was his playground, and he was determined to make the most of it. After decimating the village, he headed back toward the town, his inventory overflowing with red orc hides. As he approached the guards, they were flabbergasted. A red orc? How'd he survive? One guard muttered. Another added, look at all that red orc hide. There's at least 20 pieces there. Hyunsung, as calm as ever, asked, where can I sell these? The guards pointed him to the general goods store, still in shock at how effortlessly he'd cleared the village. He must have been a pro, one of them whispered as Hyunsung walked away. At the general store, the shopkeeper's eyes nearly popped out of his head when he saw the pile of hides. 50 red orcs? That's incredible, the shopkeeper exclaimed, quickly counting out the 150 gold. Hyunsung, calculating quickly, realized that he had just made 15,001 in less than 30 minutes of game time. At this rate, I could make more than my real-life salary, he thought, grinning at the thought of his new life. He wasn't even trying to earn money yet, focusing more on leveling up for the first few months, but the potential was clear. As he left the shop, Hyunsung's thoughts raced. Even with common items, I'm already earning decent money. I should give hunting my all. He sprinted past the guard post, feeling invigorated by how smoothly everything was going. Even the guards couldn't help but admire his speed. He's really something, isn't he? One commented. Yeah, the more orcs he hunts, the better for us. Another agreed. Back at the orc village, the easy hunts were starting to bore him. It's been 10 hours in-game, and I'm leveling up slower now. I haven't even gotten any rare drops yet, Hyunsung sighed. I need something stronger. His eyes scanned the horizon, wondering if there was a boss monster lurking nearby. He knew there had to be elite monsters around the boss, and his heart raced at the thought of a tougher challenge. I'll need at least one attack skill if I want to take down a level 40 boss, he decided, opening his skill menu to allocate his remaining points. After some quick adjustments, he focused on boosting his MP by raising his intelligence stat. 70 in wisdom, 40 in reaction speed, 14 in strength, and 16 in stamina. He calculated, nodding to himself. Perfect. Hyunsung stood in front of the DP store, a bit apprehensive about his magic power, but confident he could raise it after his next level up. Let's save the best for last. Skills. But first, let's check out some items, he muttered, his fingers hovering over the screen. He decided to start with the normal grade item. Should I get a taste of the lower ranks first? He mused before pressing the button. The system dinged and his first pull gave him a steel dagger. Normal, he raised an eyebrow. A throwing dagger, huh? Could be useful. He shrugged. Next, let's go for something rare. His next pull rewarded him, with a bloodstone ring. The description read, a ring created with a mineral formed by gathering blood. It had impressive bonuses. Recovering stamina when killing blood-bearing creatures. Top tier for a rare item. Not bad, Hyunsung thought, grinning. Then came the unique grade item pull. He held his breath, hoping for something amazing. The result? Ayla's stick, unique. A staff that boosted magic attacks by 300%. But there was one catch. It required level 200 and 300 magic power. Gah, staffs are useless. I can't even use this, Hyunsung groaned. Come on, give me something better from the heroic pull. When he pulled the heroic grade item, his hopes were high, only to be met with Iris's failed product 1, heroic, an auxiliary weapon with bonuses that were meh at best. The bonuses aren't great for a heroic item, he sighed. But it looks like it'll be involved in some kind of quest later, so I guess it's worth holding on to. Finally, the legendary grade pull. His heart raced as the system deposited the item into his inventory. He checked and found Et's egg. Legendary? An egg? Really? He stared at the screen in disbelief. I can't even use this. What is it, a pet? What's with this luck? He shook his head, slightly annoyed. This is why gambling is dangerous, he muttered. Suddenly, a red orc tried to sneak up behind him. Unfortunately for the orc, he comes to the wrong time and the wrong person. Without a second thought, Hyunsung beat the living hell out of the orc in pure desperation because of his bad luck. But Hyunsung wasn't done yet. He still had the skills to pull. Let's see what I get. Skills are twice as expensive as items, but they're worth it. He started with a normal grade skill, and the result was running common, a 10% speed boost. The underwhelming reward making him cringe. Next was the rare grade skill. This time he was more fortunate, pulling Magic Bullet Fire rare, a passive skill that let him create magic bullets using mana. Finally, an attack skill. Hyunsung's excitement returned. For the unique grade skill, he got Berserker Song. The skill allowed him to ignore all damage for 10 seconds, boosting his attack and speed, but with the drawback of receiving all that damage afterward. This is insane. It's like becoming a battle maniac. He laughed, already imagining himself charging into battles recklessly. Then came the heroic grade skill. His screen flashed with Siren Seduction, an active skill that would seduce all male beasts and men within a 100-meter radius. This could be dangerous, Hyunsung muttered, imagining all kinds of awkward scenarios. Despite some disappointment, he couldn't help but feel satisfied. Well, I've got some decent skills now. Suddenly Hyunsung couldn't believe his eyes as the notification popped up. Reaper's Chains. Active. Finally! A legendary skill, he cheered, feeling the excitement surge through him. The description was almost too good to be true. Reaper's Chains could extract the souls of enemies within a 30-meter radius, ignoring all defense and dealing 500% attack power damage. It's an AoE skill too? Jackpot, he grinned, thinking about the destruction he could unleash. Little does Hyunsung knows, his every move is watched by someone we did not know yet.